Joe Rogan has suggested that Diddy may not end up serving substantial prison time because several powerful and high-profile individuals were allegedly connected to him. Referring to comments made by Kurt Metzger, Rogan highlighted prosecutor Maureen Comey's role in the case. According to Rogan, if Diddy were held fully accountable, it could potentially expose other influential figures as well. He questioned whether those alleged connections might ultimately help Diddy avoid more severe legal consequences.
And in multiple allegations against rapper days before trial's end. Hey, he says,
wow.
Hey, remember I called it? This is Kurt Metzger on Twitter. Because James Comey's daughter is the prosecutor.
Yep.
Remember how well she swept up on the Ghislaine trail?
Yep.
Hey, who else called it?
Yep.
I can't be the only one. Yeah, he called it.
Yep.
He called it in the green room of the mothership right when he found out. He goes, he's gonna walk. I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you heard these charges?
Yeah.
He's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
No, Metzger was right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we I don't know what happened with Ghislaine Maxwell.
And you don't think they could fake the moon landing?
Yeah.
Shut the f up.
Joe Rogan questioned why the public was originally told that numerous high-profile figures were allegedly connected to Diddy's case and that footage from his parties might reveal additional names. He noted that despite those early expectations, no major disclosures or party videos were ever released to the public. Rogan suggested that the case ultimately became far more limited in scope than many people had expected, leading many to wonder what happened to those earlier allegations.
Bro, where's the videos? They were telling us that videos are going to come out, incredibly high-profile people doing horrendous things, evil things. People are going to go to jail. People are going to be shocked.
Yeah.
Where?
Right.
Nothing.
Well, like,
zero.
My thing about the Diddy thing is like, I don't really give a f. These people are they're of age. They're like 18 years old. And is it what he's doing, trying to like use people and leverage them into do these weird sexual things and like sick shit, just the most sick shit you could possibly think of. But like the way I look at it is these people are using this Diddy stuff. All it does is like take away from the real child thing that's going on with like underage kids, right? There's like what 300,000 something like missing kids. Like talking about Diddy and his oil parties with these 18-year-olds, like, do I think it's good? No. I want to beat up their dad, but other than that, I don't really give a f if there's like 18 to 19-year-olds that are doing this stuff, as long as they're not being like actually like physically.
In an earlier interview, Diddy spoke about politicians playing what he called the gangster game, saying that he had already been involved in those kinds of games himself. At the time, his remarks appeared to be about politics and voting. In light of more recent allegations, some viewers now see those comments in a different way, especially as additional high-profile names have been linked to the case. Many people have since revisited the interview, wondering whether his statements carried a deeper meaning than they originally appeared to.
We get down to the local elections, when we get down to the school board, we get down to the judges and the justices, that's so confusing for us. We've never played this game. This is another level of gangster. But I played this game before, you know? I started in 2004 with Vote or Die, and this is the evolution of that thought, of that empowerment, of that independence.
Several major allegations against Diddy were dismissed. His legal team continued defending his actions in court. His attorney argued that the recorded encounters involved consenting adults, role-playing outfits, and carefully staged lighting, describing the videos as private recordings intended for personal viewing rather than commercial release. Defense maintained that this type of content is protected by the First Amendment and should not be considered criminal conduct. They also argued that there was no financial incentives behind the recordings, making the charges inappropriate. Prosecutors, however, rejected those arguments and have continued challenging the defense's interpretation throughout the court proceedings.
Read you something from their brief. Listen to this. They say, freak-offs and hotel nights were highly choreographed sexual performances involving the use of costumes, role play, and staged lighting, which were filmed so Combs and his girlfriends could watch this amateur pornography later. Pornography production and viewing of this sort is protected by the First Amendment and thus cannot constitutionally be prosecuted. So what they're saying is, look, if you want to use the Mann Act to prosecute people who are moving prostitutes across state lines for commercial transactions, which again is what it's usually used for, that's one thing. But here, there's no commercial purpose. Diddy lost money. He ended up paying the prostitutes. The films were never distributed to anybody. The defense is saying it was for his pleasure and the pleasure of people who may have been participating. So they're saying, look, this is like any be OnlyFans. It could be anything like that. And all of that is constitutionally protected and shouldn't be prosecuted.
There have long been public moments involving Diddy that many people have gone back to revisit following the recent legal proceedings. One example frequently circulated online comes from an old charity auction where Diddy jokingly placed a bid on the chance for someone to spend time with him at one of his well-known Saturday night parties. At the time, the audience laughed and treated the exchange as harmless entertainment because no one imagined those moments would later be viewed in a different light. After the allegations against him became public, many people returned to those clips, arguing that some of the comments now appeared far more disturbing in hindsight.
Nice for you, Sharon. 3 nights. 3 nights! Full room and board. Another thing is unlimited. If we become friends, you can stay for a long time. This is just a start. This is just a start to raise money for the kids. We didn't even talk about Miami. We may go from the Hamptons to Saturday, New York to Miami. You may show up a month late. 100,000? 100 right there, my man, right there. 100 in the back.
Another interview that is often brought up comes from Diddy's appearance on the Conan O'Brien show, where he openly discussed the amount of preparation that went into hosting his parties, explained how carefully everything had to be arranged, and emphasized how important those gatherings were to him. Although the interview was presented in a humorous and lighthearted manner at the time, many people later revisited it and pointed to it as another moment that attracted renewed attention after the allegations became public.
I don't know if this is just made up myth or if this is true, but I'm told that when you go to a hotel, anytime you go to a hotel, you don't just check in the way everybody else does. You send someone ahead to prepare the hotel room for you.
It's called preparing the sexy.
Preparing the sexy?
Yeah.
What's preparing the sexy?
I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the sexy.
Yes.
Yes, and that's candles. I like candles. I like tuberose. That's a smell. I like that scent. I'm attracted to certain scents.
What kind of?
Tuberose.
Tuberose.
Yes.
Okay, as a scent you like.
Yes, it's a scent.
Okay.
Tuberose.
Yes.
I like lilies. I like white orchids. Roses and things of that nature. I'm into baths. So I like my bath at the right temperature. It's just little things that I personally like. I work hard and I like my room to be sexy.
Sure. You like to prepare the sexy, is what you're saying. You can't just count on the sexy. Prepare the sexy.
You have to make sure you go through the proper measures to make sure that your sexy is there.
Despite those older clips being widely circulated again, much of the legal case has remained focused on the allegations made by Cassie Ventura. Joe Rogan questioned why so many viral moments and past interviews received far less attention than the specific charges being argued in court. He suggested that public discussion often extends well beyond what is actually presented during the legal proceedings. Rogan also pointed out that many people online expected the case to be much broader because of years of speculation surrounding Diddy and his celebrity lifestyle. Instead, the trial has largely focused on the evidence connected to the charges prosecutors ultimately chose to pursue.
And it seems like what's going on is just like this weird cultish thing where they slowly get creep closer and closer and closer to this thing. Like, oh, I'm here now. All these famous people are here. They're doing this. Like
elaborate parties, lots of money, everything you want. The golden carrot at the end of the stick.
Right.
So the thing is, he's not even being charged for any of the things you just brought up. He's not being charged for blackmail.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy because, what did they do? Why did they tell us that there was all these videos of all these high-profile people and then silence, and then it never comes up once during the trial? There's none of that stuff in the trial. In the trial, it was his ex-girlfriend Cassie. They were talking about, he's up for these 2 charges left, and it's like prostitution, something. It's like nothing.
For the years, Diddy has often been seen displaying a great deal of affection towards several male friends and fellow artists in public. Numerous interviews, public appearances, and behind-the-scenes videos have circulated online, showing him hugging, complimenting, or speaking to others in ways that some viewers felt appeared more personal than a typical celebrity friendship. One of the most widely shared clips features Diddy interacting with rapper Meek Mill, with many people online describing the exchange as unusually flirtatious, while supporters say it simply reflects his outgoing personality. Critics believe those repeated interactions have taken on a different meaning, following the allegations and the ongoing legal controversy surrounding him.
What's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
Joe Rogan has also spoken more broadly about the music industry, noting that it has been rocked by several major scandals over the years. Referenced the case involving R. Kelly as an example of how serious allegations have surfaced within the entertainment business before. According to Rogan, these situations serve as a reminder that fame and success do not place celebrities beyond accountability. At the same time, he stressed that public opinion should remain separate from the legal process, since accusations and the evidence presented in court are not always the same thing.
But I think those rappers did some wild shit.
I mean, it was,
especially in the 90s.
Music business. It's a lot of people.
It's not just the music business. It's the extortion business.
Well, I mean, the rap game was crazy. That's a thing a lot of people don't realize is like, back in the day, especially like early rap game, you weren't just going to play at, what's the random theater that you would play in LA? What's like a big theater? I'm trying to think. The Orpheum or something like that. The Wiltern. Some guys were explaining to me, it was like, you would play at the local hood club. There was like a hood club that you could perform at. And then that was owned by the local drug dealer that was washing money there.
Right.
So this is where the idea of like checking in comes from. Have you heard of this term?
Yes.
Like checking in was basically like, hey, I want to make sure we're good because you're going to pay me. And if I don't check in, you might rob me because you're putting me up at the hotel and you know everything that's going on and you're a dealer. So you don't play by the rules.
Right. When you come to Houston, you're checking in with certain people.
Mr. Prince.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prince.
Yeah.
You don't got to check in.
After Diddy was arrested, and the allegations surrounding his parties became a major topic of public discussion, more people began coming forward with stories about experiences they claimed to have had with him. One of those individuals was singer and content creator Tana, who spoke during an interview about what she says happened after attending one of Diddy's after parties while trying to build a career in the music industry.
Walking there, I'm just so happy, and I'm just like kind of nervous, but then what's making me even more nervous is the music and the naked people walking around. So I'm like, the music is going fast, so I'm like feeling like a rush. I don't know if it's a good thing, I don't know if it's a bad thing. I just know I'm excited but nervous at the same time. That was my intuition telling me some shit was about to go down, or it was like some crazy going off. Long story short, I started to see unusual things, people skinny dipping in the pool, P. Diddy running around like a crazy animal. I seen like a lot of, bisexual, this type of people, trans, just different types of people. And I love everyone, I've been in the industry, so like I don't discriminate on nobody. I love a lot of gays. I love anybody who is happy, anybody who is positive. But when it starts to get kind of crazy, I feel like I don't want to attach myself to that type of stuff.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
And according to Tanya, she arrived expecting what she believed would be a typical celebrity gathering, but the atmosphere quickly began to feel unusual. She said she felt both excited and nervous as she entered the property, explaining that her instincts immediately told her something wasn't right. Tanya described witnessing behavior that she considered unexpected, and said the environment became increasingly uncomfortable as the evening went on. She also claimed that Diddy personally approached her, asked what she thought of his house, and encouraged her to venture farther inside. According to her account, the interaction left her with a strong sense of unease, and she chose not to follow what she believed was being suggested. Since then, her interview has received millions of views as people continue revisiting personal accounts connected to Diddy's parties following his arrest and the federal investigation.
Seeing Diddy, he rubs me on my shoulder. He asks me, how are you liking my house? And he kind of like startled me a little bit. So mind you, this feeling I was feeling, I'm not sure if it was because I'm thinking I'm gonna have to maybe sing or get signed or this is my opportunity. You hear these in the industry, you've been singing for so long and you hear these stories like when you get your big break, you're gonna go through all this bullcrap and then one night it's just gonna change your life. So it's like you're gonna be a nobody at one moment and the next moment you just may be a superstar tomorrow. It's like an overnight celebrity type of thing. So that's just what I'm banking off. But then I get something different from Diddy. When he comes to me and he's rubbing on me and he's asking about do I like his house, I'm feeling like a dark energy, like in his eye. And I'm like, why is it giving scared? Like he's trying to, with his power, like, how are you liking my house? Like anything you want, let me know. Like, and then he tells me, go in the house. So after a while, he's watching me with the friends. Everybody is just watching me.
According to his testimony, Sheree Hayes took part in multiple private gatherings involving Cassie Ventura and Sheen Combs over the course of several years. He later appeared in court as a witness, where he shared details about those events.
My name is Sheree Hayes, and I was part of the freak-offs with Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs. It lasted from September 2012 to approximately March of 2015. I estimate somewhere between 8 and 12 times.
Described what he personally observed during his interactions with the two. According to his testimony, he was later called to testify as a witness during Diddy's federal trial, where he described what he personally experienced. Hayes explained that he usually worked as an entertainer for private events and believed this booking would be another routine assignment. He said he received a phone call from a woman requesting entertainment for what was presented as a birthday celebration. However, when he arrived at the location, he quickly realized the atmosphere was very different from the kinds of events he normally attended.
We also get calls for private parties. So I just got a standard call that night where a woman called me up and said, hey, it's my birthday, and my husband says I can get some entertainment for me and my friends. I got a location, a time, and showed up with my dance bag ready to do a little striptease. And when I opened the door, I ended up opening up to a woman in a bathrobe, and it was, for me, probably the most attractive woman that I've seen in person.
Hayes testified that before anything took place, he was given detailed instructions about the role he would be expected to play throughout the gathering. He said the directions were unlike anything he had encountered during his normal entertainment work and immediately made the situation seem unusual. According to his testimony, he was then paid a substantial amount of cash before the event began. Hayes explained that receiving the payment in advance made him realize this was far from a typical private booking. He later told the jury that the entire experience remained one of the most unusual assignments he had ever taken on during his career.
Of bachelorette parties, and I'm walking in thinking I'm coming into a crowd of people. But I walked into this very dimly lit room by candlelight, and what was the most odd thing was all of the furniture was covered in sheets. And she immediately explained to me the circumstances, that she was trying to set a sexy scene, that me and her were gonna sit on these couches and put baby oil on each other in a suggestive way. And at some point, her husband would come out and watch. But I'm not supposed to acknowledge him, look at him, have any eye contact. We're supposed to do our best to act like he's not even there. So it was way out of my comfort zone. My initial feeling was to question, but the minute I was told what was expected, she handed me a stack of money. Essentially $2,000 for what was asked of a baby oil massage. It was something I was gonna give a go. Hey, look, I'm an opportunist, right? So I get a stack of money, I got this beautiful woman here.
And according to Hayes, one individual remained largely out of sight throughout the event, and he was specifically instructed not to interact with or even acknowledge that person. Hayes later said the experience felt completely different from his usual line of work and remained one of the most unusual private events he had ever attended. His testimony ultimately became part of the prosecution's evidence as the jury listened to witnesses describing what they personally observed during those years.
Or the baby oil play, Mr. Combs walks over and he takes like a pack of condoms and he just throws it on the couch and kind of says, I'm ready to watch you, penetration in a very direct way, right? And that made me uncomfortable and I could not perform. We stopped the session, she left the room, came back in, and then the conversation was different at the end, right? The conversation would usually be, that was great, we'll see you next time. And the conversation this time was, well, we appreciate your privacy and being discreet, and thank you so much. And I just read between the lines, like, oh, that didn't go too well. And the next time I ended up in any scenario with them being mentioned or involved is I'm sitting with federal investigators.
As the investigation surrounding Diddy continues, more people connected to his past have begun speaking publicly about their experiences. One of the most widely discussed interviews took place when former celebrity bodyguard Big Homie C appeared on Piers Morgan's show. During the interview, he said he believes the situation involving Diddy is much bigger than what the public currently knows. Big Homie described Diddy as someone who allegedly hosted exclusive parties attended by wealthy and influential individuals, suggesting that many details have still not come to light.
Well, Pierce, let me ask you a question. From your journalistic perspective, have you ever noticed how in this industry, people untimely meet their demise as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before?
Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her?
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody? What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? He was the party guy. He was the person who lined up the parties and festivities for a lot of guys a lot more wealthy and affluent than him. So, you know, I'm a person who believes that the Epstein's list is very similar to Diddy's list. I'm a believer in that. And, you know, whenever it comes to protecting women and children, I'm gonna be fierce. Big ups to my sponsor, Stallion Gear, for putting up funds to help us go out and help people. You know, I want to salute Michael Franzese because he's probably the only famous person who donated to our campaign for protecting women and children, going down to the orphanages.